welcome back to the Kessel Rundown podcast. My name is Hunter, and I am joined by my co-host Ethan. Today, we are talking about The Mandalorian, Chapter 18, The Mines of Mandalore. So, Ethan, how did this episode leave you feeling?
Hunter, it's not a mine. It's a tomb. Oh man, I love this episode so much. This was peak Mines of Moria flashbacks here. It was great.
It was amazing. You know what's really funny? When I saw the city destroyed and everything, that I thought of Lord of the Rings as well, The Mines of Moria, and I immediately thought of you as well. So, if that's not a
Oh, I'm
test of our
flattered.
friendship, I don't know what is.
Yeah. Yeah, this is man, what a strange entirely different episode than the one we just recorded a podcast over like 3 days ago. Episode episode 1 of this season, chapter 17, The Apostate came out last Wednesday. We recorded over the weekend and had a few days to sit with what we thought was a pretty disappointing and not super packed episode plot-wise. And then this one just threw you right in. I mean, we got 5 minutes of Pelimoto, and then it was like just
Yes,
hitting
that's all I
the
need.
hitting the nos on the plot going forward, you know?
Yeah, it was quite the episode to get back to. If anything, I think they should have premiered episode 1 and 2 together.
Yeah, yeah. I think that they're I thought that would have been good. You know, they're kind of opposed to that with Mandalorian. I think they want to
Mhm.
capture that HBO Sunday night kind of vibe. You know, like The Last of Us, ironically, also starring Pedro Pascal, and Game of Thrones and The Sopranos. Like going back to the '90s, HBO's had these shows that it's appointment viewing every week.
Yeah.
Every Sunday night at 7, you need to be watching this show, right? And I think Disney's
Mhm.
been trying to capture some of that, even though it's like 2 a.m., which is a weird time to release something. It is still appointment viewing for us, you know?
Yeah, I was there. I watched, The Mandalorian first at 1:50. That's when they dropped it on Disney, and then immediately after, I watched the new Bad Batch episode, which is really good too. I don't know if, you haven't seen it, have you?
Not 11 or 12 this season, no. Because so for those listening who don't know or maybe haven't picked up on other episodes, Hunter works evenings usually, so he can
Mhm.
stay up all night to watch these things come out. I'm in bed by like 10, so I typically don't watch The Mandalorian until Wednesday afternoons. Sometimes Wednesday mornings if I get up early enough, but
Mhm.
today I watched it right when I got home from work, and we immediately jumped on the to record. So we're really excited to talk. Finally, man, after 2 plus seasons, we've seen Mandalore in live action.
And what a sight it was. It was so cool whenever we were coming down, not to, get ahead of ourselves, but whenever we were coming down through the clouds and you see all this green for a second, you think, I thought it was grass, Mandalore's healing, but it's just the glassed over surface that
Yeah.
the Empire had done. It was really cool, but seeing Mandalore again, it's always a treat. But before we get into the episode, just some quick news. Today's Wednesday. We're recording this on Wednesday. Yesterday, Jedi Battle Scars came out. I have listened to the first 3 chapters. I got it on Audible. So I'm slowly
Nice.
getting through it. So hopefully by the time or before the game comes out next month, I should have a video up kind of explaining what's happening with Jedi Battle Scars and what happened in the book leading up to the video game. But yeah, that's exciting. A new Star Wars book to listen to and get lost in for just a little bit.
Yeah, and I had heard that, not to step on your turf here, but I had heard that, the new video game got delayed until April, like mid-April?
Yep, I think it's April 28th that
Oh,
we're gonna
okay,
be
so late
getting
April, yeah.
Jedi Survivor. Yeah, but hey, it just gives, the devs enough time to finish up the game, make it look really nice. A rush game is forever bad, but a delayed game always has a chance to be better.
It's honestly crazy how well, I guess except for, like, Rogue One, when they famously were reshooting the Vader scene 3 weeks before the release date. Movies, and movies and albums and stuff like that, like TV shows, you don't see them in the editing process, at all within 3 or 4
Yeah.
months of the release, right? But video games, I feel like there's always delays because they edit up to like the day before it comes out.
Yep, you're right on that, and even whenever they release some games, still are being worked on. I know you wanna get into the episode, so You've already told me before the episode you want to cover the beginning of it, so why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, so just jumping right in. I mean, we ended on not really a cliffhanger. It was more of like a Bo is really mad at Din, right? That's kind of how episode one ended. So
Mhm.
episode two opens with fireworks over. Gosh, I guess it's Mos Eisley. I mean, I always forget where Pelly lives because we've been to every town in Tatooine at this point. But
Mhm.
yeah, Boonta Eve or Boonta Week is happening, which I don't. It's
Mhm.
kind of like Mardi Gras. I don't know, is from what she was describing it as. So there's fireworks everywhere. You know, they're flying in the N1. So the first thing we see is Pelly completely defrauding some poor Rhodian. I mean, I get the guy is
Yes, she's a
wearing nice
businesswoman.
clothes. She's a swindler. She's a thief. I was shocked. I mean, yes, Star Wars has moral gray areas, where it's like Han Solo, the rugged, smuggler. We love him, but like this was
Mm.
just straight thievery. Like in no world should this be a respectable character, but she's pretty funny, so we'll keep her around. She's she gets her Jawa boyfriend to go out and steal parts, and then she sells them at a markup to the people who they stole them from. And it's like, what is going on?
Mm.
Not to carry on too much about Pelimoto's ethics, but
Oh, please,
in
please do.
in Order of the Phoenix, in Harry Potter Order of the Phoenix, in the book, there's a scene where Mundungus Fletcher is telling the twins, "Oh, you guys should get into business, blah blah blah. I've made so much money." And then he's telling the story, and he's like, "And then the idiot bought back the cauldrons I stole for him for twice what he paid the original or whatever." And it was like this moment of like, that guy's a scumbag, but he's funny, and that's about how I felt watching this episode about Pelly.
Oh, you know how much I love Pelimoto. She is such a amazing character to me. I know she's your favorite as well. Something funny I want to add in real quick is when the episode opened, we saw Tatooine. The first thing I thought was Pelimoto. It wasn't Boba Fett or Fennec
Yeah.
Shan or
Yeah,
really
and then she
anything.
mentioned
I was
Boba
like,
later, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, I
yeah,
forgot he's
yeah.
running this thing."
I saw Tatooine and I was like, Pelly! I'm like, oh my god, let's go! Like, let's go! And like the speeders and everything. So yeah, it was just like it's Pelimoto. Oh yeah, Boba Fett's here too, maybe as well, and Cobb Vanth, maybe. But let's get more Pelly. I don't even need those people right now.
Yeah, Din had no interest in seeing Boba,
Me either.
Finnick, or Cobb Vanth Refrigeration. I mean, none of them. And I love that Favreau and Filoni just were like, "No, we don't need them in this episode." Like, it would have been pretty easy for them to stick Tamara Morrison in this for like a minute and a half scene that they could have filmed while they were doing Boba Fett and
Mhm.
just had like a short, "How are things going? How's the kid?" But I'm
Yeah.
glad they didn't. It kept us on track, and really the theme of this episode is like speed. This episode is, we are going to Mandalore right now.
Mhm.
Within like 8 minutes of the opening credits, we are in Mandalore. You know what I mean? And that was not what I expected
Mhm.
at all from this season. So,
Oh yeah, we talked last episode. We were like, well, we might get to Mandalore around the end of the season, maybe even mid-season we'll get there and something will happen eventually. But no, we're already there, not even 10 minutes into the episode of episode
right.
2. So
Right. And
right now, my predictions for this season have been flipped on their head, so I have no idea where it's going to go.
yeah, yeah, neither do I. Which is a good place to be when things are,
Mhm.
good, right? Boba Fett, we experienced the opposite way when it was like, what are we doing? I have no idea where we're going. So you mentioned earlier how great Mandalore looked. So he's in Tatooine trying to get a droid part. He
Mhm.
She can't give him an IG-11. They spend about 8 seconds on that, and he's like, fine. And she talks him into buying this R5. Pretty crappy droid, but again, she's a businesswoman, so she sells him on it,
Yeah.
and then
Well,
they fly off to Mandalore just like that.
the R5 unit is the same unit that the Jawas try to sell Luke in A New Hope.
Well, not in
Yeah,
great shape, I guess.
no, it's the same unit that R2 one-upped to go to Luke. So this R5 has been passed around through the Jawa, black market, I guess, and it ended up with Pelly. And
He's
now we
seen some
have Din
things.
trusting another droid. Yeah, he's seen a
Yeah,
lot of things, but this means that Din is trusting another droid other than IG-11, which is another huge gripe that we talked about last episode. How it was
yeah,
going back on season 1, but now, hey, look at it. It's
yeah,
happening.
yeah. We could see him go back to the Enzellans and figure it out with IG maybe later in the season, but
Mhm.
for right now, it's like he was able to move forward, and we got to Mandalore without IG, and that's good.
Mhm.
He's flying through this atmosphere. Well, I guess before he flies in, he's orbiting Mandalore, I guess, looking for Sindari, pointing out the moons.
Mhm.
And I love we saw Concordia and we saw Kalevala like in live action from the sky, and I just thought that was really neat. He kind of repeated some lines from earlier episodes, so I wasn't a big fan of that. The whole, if you know where you're going, you'll never be lost or whatever. The over exposition in this episode was a little annoying, I would say. Um, I felt like
Mhm.
Dan was explaining everything to the audience,
Yeah.
whereas I mean, I'm kind of glad he pointed and said, "There's Kalevala," because it gave us a reference later when we knew Bo-Katan was close and
Mhm.
that Grogu could just go get her. But it was also very Disney thing to do to over-explain everything and be like,
Mhm.
this is what happened. Oh, when the droid when they finally figured out the air isn't toxic. I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but and
Mhm.
Mando goes, "Okay, so that means we can breathe again. That means it isn't cursed. I guess Bo was right when she told me earlier that it wasn't cursed." And it's like, yes, we watched last episode. We
We
know, like
know.
we know what was said. We know what the rumors are. We know what the green numbers mean. If you would have just unlocked the pressurization on your helmet, it would have told us that the air was safe, right? So
And not cursed.
yes, and if Grogu is walking around in the open air, we know it's not cursed, right?
Mhm.
So I thought that was a little overdone when he hopped out of the in one and he goes, "Okay, I'm just gonna pressurize my helmet and lock you in the cabin. You can't go outside." And it's like, yes, we figured that out because the droid you sent to see if the air was toxic is missing. I just, it was a little
I
bit too
think
much for
that's more
me.
of just like Grogu's a baby and he's trying to be like, okay, he's repeating himself. He's trying to be a good dad
Yeah.
and not let Grogu get hurt.
Yeah. I
That's what
guess
I
he
took it
he
as. But
does
yeah.
he does talk to Grogu a lot more in these first two episodes of this
Mhm.
season than he used to. So I guess that's kind of the
Yeah.
father figure stuff
Even
coming out.
Yeah, even, at the beginning of the episode, whenever, Grogu jumped out of the N1, did a few flips into Pelly's arms, she was like, was that his first word?" She thought he heard him talk.
Yeah, I thought
So
that was kind of
he's definitely chirping a lot more.
yeah, he is that he keeps doing. But
Mhm.
I thought that was a little bit like breaking the fourth wall when she was saying, "Was that his first word?" And it was like, no, he just grunted or something. It wasn't that big of a deal. But everyone's waiting for him to speak, right? Yeah. So once they're on Mandalore, we see the droid get sent out and disappear, and then Mando goes in and after him. And we saw this mostly from the trailer. I learned after reading they're called the Alamites, or maybe Bo says that later, I guess. The Alamites. Some jump scares, a couple jump scares later, he rescues the droid. We get an awesome Grogu and Din descending into the midst of the mines. I did not know until now that
Mhm.
Grogu's shell thing could go vertical. That was awesome to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see Grogu gain a lot of confidence in this episode, I think. Or just at least
Oh, yeah.
show that he was training with Luke Skywalker for whatever the disputed amount of time was, 1 to 2 years.
Anywhere from a
He
day to 2 years.
Yeah, we don't know. Hunter said last episode that it could have been, like 8 months, but we have no idea. So, yeah, so he's doing flips, into Pelly's arms to show off and get her to laugh. He's
Mhm.
You see his ear expressions in this episode. Did you notice this? His face was so much more expressive than it's ever been in this episode.
I didn't
Um,
know.
I mean, his
Huh.
eyes were growing. He looked like he was gonna cry when Din walked off after the
Hmm.
droid, and his ears, they're like a horse. When his ears go down, he's worried and he's sad, and then when his ears are up like normal, he's fine.
That's funny. That's really
And
cute.
I'm not I don't want to step on your territory later when he comes back with
Yeah.
Bo-Katan. When he's walking her down there, he pauses and she's like, "Well, lead me to him." And he stops and he gives this little grunt and like this little like snort, and his ears go back a little bit,
Mhm.
and it's like he doesn't trust her. I just thought that the writers like did this beautifully. How do you do this with a puppet? Like, how do you convey emotion? How do you convey maturity that he's learning, right? He's no longer a 50-year-old baby, he's now a 53-year-old baby, right? So
Or a
how do they can
51-year-old baby, we don't know.
or yeah, we have no idea. Goodness. But they did an excellent job in this episode, I
I have
thought,
to agree,
of
yeah.
of conveying his emotion. So I thought,
Mhm.
man, we just saw leaps and bounds, figuratively and literally from
Literally.
from Grogu in this episode. Yeah,
Yeah, it
so
was such a good Grogu-centric episode. We haven't got a lot of those.
yes.
I think this is our first Grogu-centric episode of The Mandalorian.
Well, it's certainly the first one we've seen with the script flipped, right? So usually
Mhm,
it's Din who is chasing after Grogu. You know, the whole first season was
mhm.
just like he kept getting kidnapped. It was like not quite little Leia levels, but
Mm.
it was like every other episode he would have to go find him, you know.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, it was like chapter 1, chapter 3, chapter 5, chapter 6, and then chapter 8, right? He's
Mhm.
running around the galaxy trying to find Grogu.
And season 2 as well, at the end.
And then yeah, and then obviously the big one at the end of season 2 with the Death Troopers.
Yeah.
But now we see Grogu. Oh, he goes and gets Bo. He comes back. He destroys all his Alamites. Like he just no problem uses the Force, gets
Mhm.
out of there, gets back to Bo, comes back, leads her down there. You know, he seemed to be kind of in control of things. It's
Yeah.
cool to see.
He's proving himself. He knew this his dad was in danger, so he did everything that he could and ran back through. But if you want to keep, I know you're excited about talking about this weird creature that we saw captured in. It was like in this crab mech suit or whatever it was. This creature,
Yeah,
it's only
yeah.
like an eye. Like the only thing living that's part of that creature is his eye, and maybe like stuff attached to it. I don't know, but it was such a cool design. I know you thought it was like General Grievous at first. I did too.
Well, I mean, I just product of watching Clone Wars. I mean,
You
you
definitely.
know, seeing Maul down in this like this wreckage, this like fiery, you know, inside of a trash heap or whatever. Um,
Mhm,
it gave me flashbacks to that, and the way he breathed and the way he walked, and when he stood up, he had four arms, and
mhm.
it kept panning to the dark saber on the ground, and I was like, oh my gosh, he's adding another one to his collection. Like this guy, like, is it inconceivable that after he got all burned up with the his own with excuse me, I'm trying to think. Oh, Obi-Wan killed him with the blaster, right? So uncivilized,
Yeah.
on Utapau. And after that happened, is it that inconceivable that he was, you know, forested by Palpatine and then sent like this could have launched a whole stream of controversial comic books, right? Um, or animated spin-offs or something. But I'm kind of glad it wasn't Grievous, right? But it did get my hopes up a little bit. But man, I think it was a little similar to that the thing in the trash compactor room in New Hope
Mhm.
that grabbed Luke. I think it was called a Dionoga, something like that.
I think, yeah, you're
Um,
right. Dio
yeah, so
something.
just the eyeball looks similar, but man, second straight episode, awesome design, awesome set pieces. I mean, look at this like machine. It might have been CGI. I couldn't tell. It looked pretty real to me.
Oh, man, it
Um,
was such a good mix, like I said last time, of, the pirate. What was the pirate's name? The king
Gorian
pirate. Gorian
Shard.
Shard. Yeah. Gorian Shard, freak of the week. He looks like he's such a good mix in between prequel and original trilogy. This creature looks straight out of the prequel trilogy, but had the same, like, interactiveness of, like, an original trilogy puppet, you know? It looked so good. I can't wait for next week to see our next freak of the week, as you put it.
Yeah, yeah, I kind of like how they're doing this. I mean, only
Uh-huh.
two episodes in a row, but it's kind of neat. They're just kind of flexing their money. You know, it looks like a movie. Yeah, it was like part Transformers and part like Return to the Jedi. It was so neat. Yeah, the last thing I have written down for the first like big chunk of the episode was Grogu going back to Kalevala by himself, and the droid walks in to Bo and's like, hey, we have another unscheduled visitor or another unscheduled visitor. All the droids are
Sheshwood.
British for some reason, and she's like, oh, let's. What does she say? Let's put an end to him once and for all. Isn't that what she says?
Oh, she says, "Let's get rid of him,
Yeah, like
for
Does
once and
Was she
for
gonna
all.
kill him?
Yeah.
She gonna just strike him down on the runway? Like, what was that? What was your
She was
interpretation
gonna
of that?
um, hearing that, it sounded like she was about to freaking kill him, blow up the ship, just like episode 2, blow up Padme's ship when she's walking out. I thought for a second maybe they're gonna try to, like, take him by force, but I think she just meant, "Let's just get him off our backs once and for all." Like, this man has been a thorn in Bo-Katan's side for either a day or 2 years, I don't know the time frame now, after
Time
he
is
took the dark
irrelevant.
after
Yeah.
he got the dark saber, yeah. So I think she's just tired of him, she just wants him out of her life, and I don't know if they're at the point of, killing each other, but she's already there.
What was funny is that, we see Din, or excuse me, we see Bo in the same exact place that she was last time. Presumably, this moon has more to see than just her throne room, but she's depressed and just ruminating on what she's lost, with no clear direction in front of her. She's just sitting there with her head,
Yeah.
like, down. Uh, so have you seen that,
It's kinda funny.
yeah, have you remember that meme of Ben Affleck smoking a cigarette where he's all chunky? He looks like he's gained a bunch of weight. Have you seen that picture?
Yeah, there's a compilation of Ben Affleck, picking up Dunkin' Donuts and the
Yes.
paparazzi every time he opens the door, takes a picture of him, and he looks so
Yeah.
groggy and just defeated. That's just
That's exactly what Bo-Katan looked like in this episode.
someone needs to Photoshop, Bo-Katan's headband and hair on Ben Affleck, and,
Oh, no.
like, do a compilation of those photos. It's just
Yeah,
that's
check our Twitter account later for that.
oh god, now I have work to do after this.
Um, so yeah, so she's like, whether you think she's saying she's gonna kill him or something, maybe they just wanted her to be dramatic,
Mhm,
uh, and say like, I'm gonna really tell him off this time, and he'll never come back because I'm gonna yell at him or whatever.
mhm.
Um, she goes out there and she sees Grogu, and immediately her heart softens a little bit. She's like, I'm confused. Where is he? And she shows
Yeah,
concern for Den, which I guess means she probably wasn't gonna kill him, but. Um,
mhm.
then they fly off back to Mandalore. I guess you can pick it up here if you have anything. But yeah, Bo kind of switching sides, but she's not a happy camper right now.
No, yeah, let's get to it. So, she gets R5, Grogu. They don't take the N1, they take her personal Mandalorian starship.
Much more
And
comfy.
yeah, I know R5 is happy about that. So they get through the clouds, they get back to Mandalore. They pass over the destruction of the dome city of Sundari, and she points out to Grogu, like, it didn't always look like this. And they land. Grogu leads uh Bo down this cave. What were they called again? The creatures?
Alamites.
Alamites. So Bo-Katan, I think at this point she gets jumped by the Alamites. Once they already get down to the layer where that General Grievous-esque droid captured Din.
Yeah,
Which what was
yeah.
the droid doing? Was he draining Din's blood
I think he
to
was because
eat
Dan
or
was
drink?
super weak.
Or
It seemed like he was
yeah,
draining him. I thought he was gonna try and cook him. And again, another
yeah.
Tolkien reference. I was thinking of the trolls when they get all the
The trolls
dwarves and then
arguing. Yeah.
yeah, boil him. Yeah, make him into
Um,
jelly.
yeah, so, like, I thought he was being spit roasted over like a fire, but no, he wasn't. He was getting his blood drained, or his something was getting drained from him. But, yeah, they make it down there and they have a big fight. Bo kills the maybe kills, I don't know. She chopped open the crab mech, and then that another version of him came after her, and I think she killed him, but who knows? He might have just, like, wiggled
Yeah,
away. But she picks up the dark saber, and she is amazing with the dark saber. It's just another punch in the face of, like, how Din, this guy who can't even wield the dark saber, has it, and he's the Mandalore.
yeah. When
And
he when
she,
he fought the
she's so
Alamites,
proficient with it.
yeah, when he fought the Alamites with it earlier in the episode, he was still struggling to pick it up, just like he was when he was
Mhm.
hunting the bounty in chapter 5 of Book of Boba. Um, just dragging it along the ground. He can't pick it up.
Mhm.
And then Din, or excuse me, and then Bo, like you said, like she's a complete master of it. I mean, um, family heirloom, I guess, and she just picks it up and just goes to
Mhm.
work. It was awesome.
Yeah. It was such a great scene. I love how the dark saber looks in animation and also in live action. I just think it's so cool having this, like, midnight black sword. It kind of, um, I don't know the right word, but it's kind of like, it mirrors the Jedi, how Mandalorians and Jedi are always at each other's throats,
Yeah,
and how what was it, Tar Vizsla? Tar Vizsla made the dark saber, right?
I think it was pre Vizsla. I'm looking that up right now. Um, but the Obi-Wan versus pre Vizsla was the fight in Clone Wars, right? So Tar Vizsla um was the one who made it. So you're right.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it was pre Vizsla that fought Obi-Wan with it in season 2 of Clone Wars, which was awesome. What a great
Yes, you're
fight.
right. That's the first time we see Death Watch, and correct me if I'm wrong, that's also the first time we see Bo-Katan, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because pre Vizsla's leading Death Watch and she is a willing member at that
Mhm.
point.
Yeah. Well, to get back to the episode, Bo rescues Din and Grogu, and they go back up to the beginning of the cave, and Din wakes up with, Bo making a fire. She's sitting next to Grogu, and she's like, "Okay, let's go." And Din's like, "Well, no, I still have to bathe in the living waters of Mandalore." And
She's like, "You're
she
still
tells him,
on
like,
this?"
"Well, yeah." It's like, "You're crazy, man." So, she's like, "Well, I'll show you where they are because, that's where I know where they are. You're never gonna find them without me." And we later learn that's where she took her Mandalorian creed along with her father and sister. She doesn't say Satine outright, but she says her family, this is where they took their
Mhm.
creed in the living waters.
I didn't
And
even
so
think
they
about
walk through the
Satine.
city. Yeah, she didn't even I was waiting on a Satine name drop, but I think it's just more, why would she say Satine, As that she's talking to someone who never knew Satine, so she would never say it. But as they're walking through the city, she talks about how this Mandalorian life and culture was snubbed out so fast, and it looks like all this destruction is decades old, centuries old. But in
It's
reality,
really
it's only
not.
about
Yeah.
what, 20 years? Yeah. It's
Yeah,
the
man.
constant glassing and the constant bombardment makes it look just tarnished. So they get to the mines under the Civic Center, and Bo tells Din that it's thousands of years old, where thousands of Mandalorians have taken their creed in these waters. And it's really cool. There's a little plaque next to it, kind of
Hmm.
describing the history of the caves and how it used to be a lair for the mythosaur, which I guess we can call it
Yeah.
the factosaur now.
Yeah, that was a good one. Uh,
Yeah, I was waiting
um,
for it.
so I just want to pause on the conversation they're having in the, for lack of a better term, the hallway on the way down. Um,
Mhm,
Man, like what a sad scene. Like Bo is just talking about her parents and her sister, and like, I mean, I'd completely forgotten the moment it was Satine just because I was so excited about what was going to happen. But um,
mhm,
what a sad scene. Like we're seeing all of this history in front of us, and she's just recounting like this wasn't always like this. Like the Mandalorian. Oh, right before she rescues Din, she tells Grogu like the Mandalorians and the Jedi, we once got along really well, and like she's kind of reliving the glory days a little bit, and you can kind of see it in her eyes that like
mhm,
she's really sad deep down, like she misses her family and her world and her people. Um, and she talks about her dad, and Din just bows his head. He stopped walking, and she was like, "What are you doing?" And he bows his head, and he's like, "This is the way." And I think she was genuinely really touched by that. And there was some doubt earlier in the episode of how, was she going to kill Din? Or was she going to fight Din? Now I feel like I have no doubt. Like she would do anything to help this guy. She clearly sees that he cares about her, and the world, of Mandalore. And he does have a soft spot for the people of Mandalore, even though he's not technically Mandalorian. And I think she sees that. So that just contributes to, the moments when we do dive into the waters. They're even more meaningful after that conversation.
hmm There's something I want to say as well, kind of piggybacking off of that. Whenever Din and Grogu are in the atmosphere, or are about to go in the atmosphere, Din tells Grogu like, "Yeah, I've never been there either, but they're both Mandalorian." And it's just more it's a way of life. How what Din's from Concordia. I think that's the first time we heard where Din's from. We saw the flashbacks in season 1, but I don't think it was uh said where that place was. So now we know it's Concordia,
Well, I think
which is
I think that's where he
I,
grew
I
up, and
guess he
he
got
was
taken by
part
Death
of.
Watch.
Yeah, yeah. We don't
Yeah.
know yet. We don't
That's
know
where
his
Death
home
Watch is.
planet
Yeah.
still.
Never mind. But still, that line is so good. It's like, well, I've never been down there either. So they're experiencing this for the first time. But back at the Living Waters, Din takes off his cape and his blaster. For a second, I thought he was about to take off his helmet. I was like, whoa, whoa, like, what's happening here? This is just going against everything. But he didn't. He gets in. It's like the equivalent of getting into a bath with your socks on. I know that has to suck. And like full, just in armor.
he
It's
I
g
thought he was gonna
and
take off his helmet and be like, "Hey, I'm about to cleanse, so like I might as well let you see one
yeah.
more time, Grogu." Um, but Bo was with him, and I was like, "Oh, is he gonna ask Bo to go away? Because this is kind of awkward." But then he just didn't take
Mhm.
any of them off, and he just jumped in the water. I was like, "What is this guy doing?" This is like you said, just like jumping in a pool with a hoodie and jeans on. Like what is going on?
Yuck. Yuck. But as Din is going down the steps, he's reciting the creed, and we see Bo-Katan. She's getting probably like flashbacks of her time saying the creed in the waters, and she's repeating what Din is saying. So Din is breathing back the lore and the faith that she had probably as a kid, as she was saying those lines with her father and sister. She's getting she's getting meaning back in her life. She's not probably after this episode, she's not gonna be sitting around moping all depressed. We'll see.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
not gonna be Ben Affleck anymore. But then Din, from I think he just fell over. Like, I don't think he was pulled under the waters. I think I think he just fell,
Because he's
down the
so weighed
slope.
down by all of the crap he's wearing.
Yeah, he's so weighed down. I think the constant, bombing of the surface just kinda made the steps just crumble maybe, and this dude torpedoes all the way down to the bottom, and without question, Bo jumps in after him, and it's really cool how they use the jetpack underwater, flies
Yes, dude,
down,
that was so sick.
um, picks picks him up, starts flying back, and do you wanna talk about what they see or what she sees as
Well,
they're going
I
back up?
mean, look, I think he was pulled down. I think he
Okay.
was because even if the stairs crumbled, and even if he had weight on, he
Mhm.
wouldn't go down that fast. She was with the jetpack, and it took her 30 seconds to
True.
reach him. I think that
True, true.
the creature down there just yanked him down there and was about to eat him or something, or just watch him die. I don't know what. Maybe he was just annoyed.
Yeah.
And then and Bo went and saved him. But man, you take the floor. I mean, this is your realm of expertise, I guess. It was a mythosaur, right? We can say, but wow, what a reveal.
Yeah. Yeah, I have this thing, it's called megalophobia. I'm not diagnosed with it, but I hate, like, large creatures in the ocean. It's so niche. It's such a niche topic, but, if you've seen old pictures of, like, statues in the ocean, like, ugh, it just gives me the heebie-jeebies. So, as they're going up, they see this big eye open, and it's the face of the mythosaur, and it's
Yep.
ginormous. It gave me chills. I was disgusted, but at the same time, I was amazed. Um, and it's this whole episode, I mean, this whole season and of this arc of Bo-Katan, she doesn't believe in any of the magic qualities of Mandalore, the mythical qualities of Mandalore. And when
Well, now
she's
she
faced
does.
with this mythosaur, yeah, she's faced with this mythosaur, face to face, I mean, that has to restore everything that she lost, really. Um, and we're probably going to see we are going to see a very different bow. So she gets Din up to the surface. They fly up onto the slab right in front of Grogu, and Grogu does his little patoo patoo, like little whatever,
That
and
was
like
good.
he's like, "Oh yeah, Dad's all right." I appreciate it. Yeah, Dad's all right, and that's where we end the episode of another episode ended with Bo-Katan and Din. But yeah, we saw the Mythosaur, which is, like I said earlier, probably now called the Factosaur. It's a fact.
Yeah, I mean,
So
even
a little
oh,
trivia
sorry.
for you. Do you know?
Yeah.
Oh, you're good. A little trivia for you. Do you know the first appearance of the Mythosaur? Do you know when that was?
I mean, I kind of thought this
It's
was the first
something you probably
appearance.
won't be able to guess.
Yeah.
Well, oh, okay. Here's another hint. He also the first appearance of the Mythosaur was also the first appearance of Boba Fett in Star Wars.
Oh, the
You know
Christmas
what it
special.
is?
Yes, he's riding a mythosaur,
Yes.
right?
Oh
Isn't
my
that what it
god.
is?
How did you
Yeah.
get that?
I
Yeah.
just
Oh
I
my gosh.
just
Oh my god. I know. Cool. Awesome.
this
I
is
just for some reason I was like, he's never gonna get this. This is gonna be so niche.
this is why we do the
It's
podcast,
awesome.
ladies and
Good
gentlemen.
job.
This is
He's
why
learning.
13 months ago Hunter texted me and said, "We need to do a podcast because these text messages are getting way too long." We were sending novels back and forth to each other after every show. And this is why. This is the fruits of our labor right here. Um, man,
Uh-huh. It's
what a
talking about
scary
the Star
sight to
Wars
see.
holiday special.
Yeah, the what a scary sight to see that mythosaur eye open. I'm the same way with underwater creatures, by the way. Um, so
Mhm.
me and my wife were in Hawaii like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and um, she went snorkeling for like 2 hours. I can't do that, man. I don't want to know what's under there.
Mhm.
I the water was a little bit too clear for me. If you went under there with goggles, you were gonna see like 20 fish, and which is cool. Like I don't mind
Yeah.
some fish, but not when they're like 2 feet long, and there are sharks probably somewhere close by, right? And she came back. She's like, I saw a
Yeah.
sea turtle that was like 5 feet wide. I was like, nope, nope, not swimming. I swam one time the rest of the week. I was like, nope. I'll sit on the beach and I'll look at the water and I'll look at
Mhm.
all these other pitiable kids who are going to get eaten by sea turtles. Not me. Not happening. So, uh, this was like my worst
It's actually
nightmare,
funny not to
you know.
flex not to flex on our listeners, but I have weirdly the same experience as you. I was in Hawaii and I was snorkeling, and when I saw everything, I was like, "Dear God, like I can't do this." Like
It's
I'm
so
okay with like
freaky.
I'm okay with the fish. I'm okay with the fish, but I couldn't do it.
Dude, you're
I had to
you're
go
in
back on the
their
boat. Couldn't do
environment,
it.
right? You're in their environment and
Oh yeah.
you can't you just feel so unsafe because you're like, I don't belong here. Like I'm a trespasser.
You're in
Um,
yeah. You're in open ocean, nothing around you, and you just look down and there's a whole like civilization. And you're just like, oh crap.
yeah.
It's such
Yeah.
a weird feeling. Such an
Oh
icky
man.
feeling.
Well, I mean, the episode kind of ended on a not a cliffhanger. I mean, I think they're safe from the Mythosaur. It might pop up and chase them through the mines, but I
Oh
think
yeah.
they'll get out pretty quick. But just seeing it was enough for
I
us
think if
for
the
now.
mythosaur was gonna chase them, yeah, if the mythosaur was gonna chase them, I think they would already happen. I don't think they're gonna pick up the next episode with them running. That'd be I'd cut to me eating my own words next week as the episode does pick up of them running away from the mythosaur. But
I heard
yeah,
the
that's
word
how the
eating.
episode ends.
Sorry, I heard the word eating, and I thought you were going to say the next episode was going to begin with uh, Din, Grogu, and Bo eating Mythosaur meat. And I was like, man, that would be supremely one funny and also unsatisfying that they just killed this mythical awesome creature um who Bo didn't even believe that this thing exists. Can we just talk about that for a second? Like she was reading the little plaque by the water and she was like, can you believe
Yeah.
this garbage? Look at all these stupid myths. Like she what you were saying earlier, her faith, it, for lack of a better word, like, was completely gone in the traditions of her ancestors,
Yeah.
and now she's a firm believer. She has to be. Um, Man,
Oh
what a
yeah.
what a great ending to the episode.
Do you have any predictions of what's to come? I
Um,
don't.
yeah, I feel completely lost. So, what's left for Den to do at this point, right? We always ask that question. Like, there's
Mm,
always a next mission, right? There's always oh, I gotta go here, I gotta go here, and then I gotta go do this. Oh, I need to go
mhm,
find Moff Gideon, but I'm gonna take uh, a a side mission with Migs and Kara and Finnick to this planet to get the star path thing or whatever, right? There's always a diversion.
yeah,
Now it's like, what are they doing next episode? I have no clue. Um,
mhm,
I think we got to get some sort of Ahsoka, like some sort of other mission. He's already accomplished his key mission for this season, which was to go to the Mines of
mhm,
Mandalore and wash away his sins. He did that. So what's
mhm.
next?
Well, I have a prediction. I think you're right. He's already completed his mission for the season, so I think maybe next episode we're gonna pick up somewhere, uh, with not with Din or Grogu or Bo. I think it's gonna be Doctor Pershing. In the trailer we saw Coruscant, and
Yeah,
Doctor Pershing is with the New Republic, of course. I think we're gonna see probably some of that next episode. We might not even get Din or Bo or anyone. It's just gonna
man.
be a full on New Republic episode,
Yeah, we might
which
just
I,
get a
I wouldn't mind.
Coruscant. Yeah, just a Coruscant reintroduction. We
Mhm.
saw it in Andor. We saw it in Andor, right? But that was Empire uh era, right? So for the casual viewer,
Yeah.
you need to understand this is a different governing system. Um and this is a different setup, right? They're supposedly kinder. But as Mig
Mhm.
said, um Empire, New Republic, doesn't matter to these people. We're invaders on their land, right? These governments do the same thing.
Mhm.
They just got different titles. And
Yep.
Pershing working for the New Republic, is that what you're saying, or is he a prisoner?
Yeah, so in the trailer, we see him talking with New Republic officers. So either he's converted, or and as in return of like giving um, details on Moff Gideon and his fleet and all of that, or he was captured and he's talking to him. But it looks like he's negotiating with them. We see also shots in the trailer of Dr. Pershing and a New Republic guard walking together on Coruscant. So, who knows what's happening, but I think it's going to be a Dr. Pershing episode next week, or it could be entirely wrong. We could see Din taming the mythosaur, but we'll see. We'll
This
have
is
to
like when
wait
a
and
new
see.
president this is like when a new president gets elected and they supposedly clean house, and then 6 months later they hire back half of the old staff of the former president from a different party. Uh and then after they make a big show of reversing all the old guys' policies, they suddenly reinstitute all the policies under the table. Uh I mean, come on. Are we really going to hire Dr. Pershing? Like, one of the most sickening things the Empire did was how they handled Camino, right? So now we're gonna hire one of the
Yeah,
dudes
and
that's
this is
like instrumental in that.
this is the Star Wars equivalent of Operation Paperclip,
D-
if you know anything about that.
I You're gonna have to enlighten me. It sounds hilarious, but I'm sure it's ominous.
Oh god, it's very ominous. So, going into the history part of the podcast, Operation Paperclip is after World War II, the United States hired Nazi officers to work for NASA and other government bodies in the US. So, yeah, we had Nazis working in NASA and other governing systems right after World War II because they were very smart. Operation Paperclip. There you go.
This is like, yeah. I mean, going back to Pershing,
Your
man.
whole
It's like,
worldview just got flipped upside down. Yeah.
yeah. This is a worldview podcast now, actually. It's like
Boom.
when the guy's being accused of murder and he still gets drafted. And it's like, all right, well, he can throw a ball a long way.
Whatever.
We really gonna overlook his skill set here just because he killed a couple guys?
Yeah. Come
Um,
on. It's OJ.
yeah. um, well, man, this podcast is taking a turn. Okay, so
Oh yeah.
what to expect? Episode 3. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I love Hunter's idea of opening on Coruscant and getting a total. I'm gonna say a total non-Mando episode. We're gonna get
Mhm.
a New Republic plot download episode with just a new villain being introduced, a new hey, we're plotting against Dan and the kid kind of thing, and a short like 32-minute
Mhm.
episode. And then episode 4 or chapter, what would that be? Chapter 20. We're gonna jump back in and
Mhm.
have Dan have his first encounter with these people. Maybe, hopefully, for Hunter's
Good
sake,
idea.
includes Gorian Shard.
Yeah. Please. Please, 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 please,
So
please.
I don't know. They got to come up with a way to create more conflict here because seems like it's all handled at this point.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to get into that next week. But I think we talked about everything we can talk about. So thank y'all so much for listening to the Kessel Rundown podcast. It's always a pleasure to talk Star Wars with you, Ethan. We'll talk again next week. But if you liked what you heard and you're listening on YouTube, please subscribe, leave a like. If you're listening on Spotify, listen again, show it to your friends and family. Let's get everyone talking about the Kessel Rundown podcast, please. And thank you. And my personal goal is to open Star Wars Celebration in 2025. We're gonna get there. It's plausible.
Yep.
It's very
All right,
plausible.
Hunter.
Well, thank y'all so much for listening. See y'all next week. May the force be with you.
May the force be with you. Whoa, jinx.